Hello and welcome to the video. In this video I'd like to show you this thing here. Now this is something called the FXT FX888R. It's a Triversity receiver, so rather than be Diversity, which you've seen in lots of other videos where you have two antennas, both of them trying to pick up the best possible signal and switching between them, this little fella goes one better. Now for those of you that do a lot of racing, you'll be used to seeing these kind of things stuck on the top of poles, but typically they're set up for diversity with something like an omnidirectional circular polarized antenna on one side and maybe a patch or some kind of helical on the other side to give you penetration if you're flying through trees or a wooded area. But this one gives you the ability to have a slightly different setup. Now I've put invader patches on this one when I've been playing with it here and had a really nice experience. So as I've been kind of goofing around with it a couple of weeks, I feel I'm kind of ready to talk about it and do a quick little video. Now this isn't the first product from FXT that I've had a look at on the channel. I've also had a look at some of the technology as well. Now FXT is one of those China-based manufacturers that's been making technology for a lot of other people, and those people have been putting their stickers on it. And again, it's another outfit here that is starting to sell their stuff direct. And I've been pretty impressed with everything I've had from FXT so far, and this is no exception. It seems to work very well, but there's a couple of things you need to be aware of. First of all, the specs. This thing is a 48 channel 6 band receiver. Obviously has 3 receivers on the top with SMA connections, which is perfect for me. So it goes from about 5300 to about 6000 megahertz reception. Has a little OLED display which is 128 by 64 pixels. On the side it has 4 3.5mm jacks. 3 of the top ones are for the individual signals received from each of the bits and pieces at the top. The nice thing is everything's clearly labeled, so you know which port is talking to which antenna. And at the bottom you have a single diversity out, and in the box you get a cable for that. No battery inside, but it'll run everything from 7 to 28 volts, so 2S, all the common batteries really that you'll be racing with. If you've got a spare one, then you can pop it into this little fella and get it working. Power switch on the other side, and only 2 little basic controls at the front with a 1/4 inch connection on the bottom. You can select the band and the channel manually, and you can also configure it for an auto scan function as well, which is very handy. If you are not sure what your model is running on, you just hit that and it will search all the way through. The display is very basic. It shows you the channel and band you're working on, the voltage of the battery that you've currently got plugged in, and it also shows you the relative signal strengths at the bottom from the 3 antennas and which one it's using. On the top of the unit as well, there's also a little LED by the side of each of the antennas, and that LED also comes on to show you which antenna is in use, which is blooming handy as well. If I show you how it comes in the box itself is very nicely laid out. In the top you have the unit with the little red covers on the top. Underneath that you have a basic manual. It is rather basic, there isn't a lot of information in here. There isn't a complicated menu or the kind of things that you have on the diversity modules that you get in goggles in this. It's very simple to set up and use. Under that you have 3 dipole antennas, the power connection, as well as the little AV cable that ends in these connectors, which is the wrong type if you're going to be plugging it into a Fat Shark set of goggles. So what do I think? Well, the good news is it actually works very well. From the testing that I've done here, again, I've been using 3 patch antennas so that I've got a really nice field of view out in the front. In fact, I'm very tempted to invest in another 2 of the new Pico antennas from Menace RC and get even more range out to the front and to the sides. But the way it's switching and the way it's handling everything is pretty good. The price is not bad too. Compared with some of the high value brands, this is an option if you have a diversity setup but maybe want to add another antenna, and in an array like this it works really nicely. Those of you might remember something called the Half Overlord that Hobby King did, which was a slightly bigger version that had a kind of a similar format. This allows you to have that same 180 degree plus, if you use all patches, really good penetrating reception. I do like the wide voltage range support. That means that any battery you've got that's kicking around in the field, you can pretty much stick into this and away you go. The SMA connectors are a fantastic choice for those of us that are going to be using something like this. Most of the racers that I bump into these days are running Fat Shark goggles, and they're all SMA connectors. So it means that the antennas that you'd normally have on your Fat Shark goggles, you can plug into this and away you go. 1/4" mount for tripod use at the bottom. It seems to work really nicely. It hasn't come loose or anything in the playing that I've done. The OLED screen is beautifully clear and easy to read even in the brightest sunshine, and it is very simple to use. But that kind of brings me on to the things you just need to be aware of if you're thinking of getting one of these. First of all, there is no real menu to control how it switches, how it works, what the thresholds and timers are like, the kind of options that you find in some other Triversity setups. There is also one single AV out here for the Triversity signal, which is a bit of a shame because the other thing that's missing in here is there isn't any DVR. So if you wanted to record straight out of this, you'd have to try and figure something out. Having another port in this with potentially another auxiliary power out that you could just plug your DVR into would be fantastic. Be even better if there was just a DVR in here as well. That would be pretty fab. There is no USB port on here at all, and that's really disappointing. I like the idea of USB ports. It allows you to upgrade the firmware as the manufacturer improves things and makes different choices available. It also potentially allows you to have companion applications where you can change the way it works through some kind of graphical user interface, as we don't have a menu system actually on the device itself. Power connection and the switch could be a little bit better. Why they haven't used something like a JST plug or something on the side just to plug the power in, I'm not sure. The little connector on the side to me feels a little bit flimsy, so I've tried to be very careful with that so that I don't damage that little input. And the power switch on the side works okay, but on mine it's a little bit stiff, so you know what, I've just kind of left mine turned on all the time, and I'll turn it on and turn it off by plugging the battery in. Last comment I'll make is I think they've missed a trick by just putting these crappy dipole antennas in the box. Most of us aren't going to use those, and something that would have been far more useful would have been maybe some 90-degree adapters so that you could use a patch or a helical or crosshair or whatever antenna it was that you wanted and have it pointing in the right direction. The cable also that comes with it for the AV out is the wrong style that you'd use for Fat Shark goggles, as the majority of us are going to be using Fat Shark or another type of goggle that actually takes the 3.5mm jack. Why didn't you just put one of those in instead? But with all that being said, this works really well for the money, and if you already have a Triversity set up for racing and you want to try Triversity and have yet another antenna looking out into the field to give you the best possible reception in all conditions, this is definitely worth a look. If you found that video useful or like the content, then please hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you want to go the extra step, you can become a Patreon of the Painless 360 channel and help provide support for what I do here. All the videos created here are put into playlists, so if you're interested in a particular topic, have a look at the playlist, and they all are organised in there to make them easier to use. If you're not sure if there's a video for your particular problem or topic you want to know more about, then add Painless 360 to the Google search term that you're interested in, and that should find the video, article or content about the particular thing that you're interested in having a look at.